Congressman Hamilton, I understand that you both agree with those who have said we're neither winning nor losing. But to describe the situation as grave and deteriorating sounds a lot more like losing.
It's certainly not winning. It's a very, very serious situation. We frankly don't know if we can reverse it. We think there's a chance to reverse it, and we think we ought to put an enormous effort forward to try to reverse it.
Is it possible, Congressman, that even if all 79 recommendations are implemented, this thing is lost, that we could be at the point of no return?
Well, it's certainly possible. I really don't think it's likely. If we were to take these recommendations or some of the others that will come forward here and implement them effectively, then I think we've got a reasonably good shot at stabilizing Iraq today. But you cannot ignore the possibility that the whole thing could come apart. You could have anarchy, you could have the government collapse, you could have them unable to form a new government, just rampant violence all over the place, much worse than you have today. All of those things could happen.
But what makes you think, Congressman, better trained Iraqi troops could accomplish what the U.S. military hasn't been able to do in more than 3 years?
Well, the United States military is looked upon as the occupational power there now. If the Iraqis develop a solid, professional, national army, an institution with really firm foundation, then I think that country has a chance. And of course, the key is not really military. The key is political. You cannot solve this problem militarily. You have to get a political solution. If you get a political solution at the top, you'll see a lot of things fall into place, including an effective military.
So are you both saying what President Bush said last week in Jordan, that U.S. forces will remain in Iraq as long as the Iraqi government wants them to, is wrong-headed?
No. We don't think that's the way to phrase it. We think that America must control America's deployment of America's forces and not leave it up to the Iraqi government to determine how long American forces are going to be there.
But the president did make that guarantee.
He did make that guarantee, and I think he misspoke. We cannot turn over the control of American forces to the Iraqi government. What we're saying here is that we are going to make the decisions about the redeployment of American forces. We're going to try to help. We're going to do it gradually. We're going to do it deliberately. By the first quarter of 2008, we want all combat forces out of there except those necessary for the protection of our troops. We're going to make those decisions. The Iraqis must know that. And we think that will create some additional leverage on the Iraqis.
Is an exit strategy at this point, Congressman, more important than a military victory?
I think a responsible transition is important.
But they're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
They're not mutually exclusive. You can't say that they're mutually. So it's not an either or. Well, there's a lot in here too. You know, some people are saying, "Oh, this may be a little bit more of the same." This is a lot different than current policy.
How is it most different?
In three big respects. Well, first of all, the diplomatic and political recommendations are totally different from current policy. The military recommendations are different from current policy significantly. We're going to begin to move our combat forces out as the training and equipping mission goes on, subject only to circumstances on the ground. And the milestones, the approach we're taking with the Iraqi government is different. These are all significantly different from current policy. There are 76 other recommendations that we haven't talked about that in most respects are different than current policy.
One of the key differences is conditionality.
Yeah.
Our aid that we give to Iraq over the past several years has just been given to them with no guarantee of performance on their part. What we're saying in this report is a kind of a tough conditionality. You've got to perform. You've got to achieve these milestones in national reconciliation and security and in providing basic services to people. And if you do not, we're going to come out of there. We're going to reduce our commitment.
But conversely, if you do, our commitment will be prolonged. Don't you say that in essence?
We do. We make the converse statement of what I just said. If they perform, meet their milestones, we're going to keep helping them. Now, helping in that context, I think, would mean economic and political help more than military, because part of the progress, of course,
but
would
we
be
do
military.
call for beefing up the combat trainers that we're going to put in there, and we talk about a short-term surge in order to do some further operations to pacify Baghdad.